Hip-hop culture has always had a love for comic books. From the character-specific inspiration in artists like MF Doom, Jean Grey, and Ghostface Killah the Iron Man, to the overall appreciation for colorful and exciting storytelling. These two mediums are more intertwined than most people may realize. Over the past decade, a new supervillain has arisen to wreak havoc on underground hip-hop, and their name is Czarface. Czarface is not one man, but three hip-hop masters who joined together like a Voltron of villainy to become one of the most consistently engaging acts in hip-hop. The group consists of the rappers Inspectah Deck and Esoteric, as well as the producer 7L, and their skills all combine perfectly to present some of the most marvelous music around. 7L and Esoteric bring hilarity and grit that grounds the group deep in the underground, but expands it to multiversal levels of camp and fun. Meanwhile, Inspectah Deck brings the way of the Wu-Tang with one of the most untouchable pen games in hip-hop. The trio didn't just spawn 10 years ago and start making great music together. After all, every great superhero and villain needs their origin story, and this one starts way back in 1993. The Wu-Tang Clan is one of the most important and respected groups in hip-hop history, spawning many of the greatest rappers of all time. And to those in the know, Inspectah Deck may be the most respected of all of them. On their debut record 36 Chambers, Inspectah Deck dropped some of the most iconic verses ever delivered. Over the following few years, while his group mates were all releasing classic solo records, Inspectah Deck was gearing up to release a classic of his own. On the iconic song Protect Your Neck, Inspectah Deck declared that he was swinging through town like your neighborhood Spider-Man. Deck's debut album Uncontrolled Substance was intended to be a concept record, with him playing the part of a hip-hop Spider-Man. Unfortunately, a hip-hop tragedy happened when RZA's basement flooded, losing the files to Inspectah Deck's debut solo album Forever. Now, if that doesn't sound like the origin story to a villainous MC, then I don't know what does. He intended to be a hero, but after an event beyond his control, his career was changed forever. He would end up releasing a lot of great solo records in the future, but if that original debut ever came to fruition, who knows how his career would have ended up. On the other side of the underground, 7L and Esoteric joined forces in the mid-90s and became a dynamic duo in the Boston underground hip-hop scene. They were members of the Justice League-esque super collective, the Army of Pharaohs, helping to define the sound of 2000s underground hip-hop. The duo released a bunch of amazing projects throughout their initial run together, but never really got the respect they deserved as one of the most consistent partnerships of that decade. Underground hip-hop can often be a thankless place to be within the industry, but around 2011, they lived long enough as hip-hop heroes that they would see themselves become villains. The duo had collaborated with Inspectah Deck on a few songs over the years, and always had great chemistry. So when they got the itch to change things up and start a new run, they came up with the idea to link with the Wu-Tang veteran to form a trio. Funny enough, the concept of Czarface wasn't even their original conceit. In fact, they had a hard time coming up with what the name and brand of the group should be. After tossing out many names, such as the Bomb Techs, they were called to the name Czarface, and the rest was history. The trio bonded over their love for sports, movies, comic books, and wrestling, and these common interests became the panels that they would build on. The group released their first album together in 2013, and it served as a grand entrance for the trio, a fantastic first issue that highlighted each of the three artists and this new world that they created together. Their styles would work perfectly together, because it's a throwback to the classic hip-hop of the 90s while having a brand new energy that's only accomplished with the sum of the three of them together. The two MCs are so dynamic, with a call and response energy that feels akin to the likes of Run DMC, but with 30 more years of rap history and pop culture to pull from. And 7L isn't just giving them generic boom bap beats, he produces each song to the fullest, blending in samples and sounds that make this feel like watching a Saturday morning cartoon. The group's sound pulls from the golden age of hip-hop, and their look pulls from the golden age of comics, with iconic art and comic imagery gracing each of their album covers. The character of Czarface was designed by artist L'Amour Supreme, and his style became the perfect look to visualize their villainous music. In 2015, they released their second album, Every Hero Needs a Villain. They each had success in their first artistic lives before Czarface, but this collaboration brought them each a newfound appreciation from fans. This album reached number 15 on the hip-hop charts, and number 4 on the Heatseeker charts. Czarface was taking hip-hop by storm, and fans were loving it. Outside of the music, the entire brand of Czarface took off more than any of them could have expected. They've put out Czarface action figures and comic books over the years, making the group now a part of the comic book culture that originally inspired them. 7L and multi-instrumentalist Todd Spatafor form the group the Czarkeys, and do most of the production for the group together. They often play their own instruments to avoid sampling, which helps the group get placement in movies and TV shows. They really have every avenue of their brand and artistry on lock, more than most other underground artists who are just trying to simply make good albums. Czarface makes great music, while also pushing themselves into new avenues. 2016's A Fistful of Peril proved that they were one of the most consistent hip-hop acts of the decade, and they followed it up with the even more ambitious First Weapon Drawn. This came out in collaboration with Marvel Comics, who produced the first official Czarface comic book. This project is essentially a Czarkeys scored soundtrack to the comic that comes equipped with narration for the issue. They make it so fun for fans to follow along with the ever-expanding world and lore of the Czar. The question is, how can you top collaborating with the most iconic comic book company of all time? Well, the answer is that you link up with the most villainous villain to ever live, MF Doom. The group formed a brotherhood of evil MCs with Doom, releasing the album Czarface Meets Metalface in 2018, and they would follow that up with 2021's Super What. MF Doom is one of the most iconic MCs of all time, but he didn't release much music in the last decade of his life, so Czarface getting him out of his lair to bless us with a couple of albums was incredible. These unfortunately ended up being the last two projects that we ever got from MF Doom, and I think that it's fitting that they are a showcase of creativity, collaboration, and comic books, because that's three things that Doom was all about. In 2019, Czarface linked up with another comic-inspired character, knowing that Inspectah Deck intended to start his career as Spider-Man, following in Ghostface Killah the Iron Man's footsteps, and now they get to take that comic connection full circle 20 years later, makes me as a hip-hop fan so happy. At this point, Czarface just seems to be traveling the world of rap, collecting eccentric geniuses to collaborate with like Infinity Stones. That same year, they released Double Dose of Danger, which was released with yet another giant-sized comic book, and then they released The Odd Czar Against Us, which might even be my personal favorite Czarface record. They tripled up again in 2021, releasing Super What, Czar Noir, which came with another comic book, and they even made Good Guys Bad Guys, which essentially is the Venom Let There Be Carnage soundtrack. This album features verses from a mysterious rapper named Frankie Pulitzer, who may or may not be a famous actor who plays the title character of the film, but that's a video topic for another day. Frankie Pulitzer would rap again on each of the next two Czarface albums, 2022's Czarmageddon and 2023's Czartificial Intelligence. At this point, the trio is a decade into their run, and it seems like they're still in their prime. Every time they drop their music, it's so incredibly fun, and what they've been able to do with the entire Czarface movement has been incredible. Inspectah Deck, 7L, and Esoteric have all been active since the 90s, and it's awesome that they were able to find the second evolution of their careers 20 years in. It has really taken over their careers for the past decade, and I for one am hoping that it continues on forever. I don't know what's next for Czarface, but what I do know is that the next time that the Czar signal lights up the sky, I'll be there to cop the next issue to hear what it's all about. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know down in the comments what is your favorite Czarface record. There must be some sort of comic book magic in the air because I covered Jean Grey a month ago, and I got an MF Doom discography ranking coming out for you guys soon, so stay tuned for that. This video was voted on by my patrons. If you want to have a chance to vote on future video topics, head over to patreon.com/DefGoldblum, where you'll be able to vote on one video topic each and every month. Also over there, I've started up a little bi-weekly, monthly podcast that I'm doing by myself, summing up all of the records that I listen to each and every month, and also picking a new rapper each episode to give more of my unfiltered thoughts about them. No script, no video, just me giving my raw thoughts about them and their careers. I'm also still going strong on my film channel, Def Gold Film, so check that out if you're interested. And as always, if you love hip-hop and want to see more videos like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And you know the deal, I got a lot more headed your way, so stay tuned, stay safe, and stay def. Thanks for watching.